Hey everyone, it's Colleen and I am the Preparedness Pro and I'm so happy to have you here today. I want to share with you what we've got in store for you for today's show. You're going to love it. Welcome to the Preparedness Pro podcast, where we believe in prepping. It's not just about stockpiling beans or perfecting your bunker feng shui. It's about creating a life that's resilient and flexible and, dare I say, a little bit profitable. I'm your host, Colleen, and today we're taking preparedness out of the pantry and onto the internet. Let's be honest, financial preparedness doesn't always come with a manual, but if it did, today's guest would have written it, sold it on Amazon, and turned it into a viral YouTube series. I'm joined by Jeremy Bishop, a man whose entrepreneurial skills are so sharp that even his LinkedIn profile needs a seatbelt. I'm building million-dollar brands to teach Netflix stars how to go viral without accidentally becoming a meme. Jeremy knows what it takes to turn digital dust into dollars. So why does this matter for our self-reliance tribe? Because in a world where curveballs are guaranteed, whether it's economic uncertainty or job loss, or simply wanting to spend more time at home in your slippers than in rush hour traffic, financial preparedness is just as important as food and first aid. And entrepreneurship, especially in the digital age, is the Swiss Army knife of resilience, in my opinion, or the Leatherman of resilience. We're going to go with Leatherman here. So today we're going to dig into Jeremy's best secrets for building an income from scratch, making your online presence work for you, because you all have some type of an expertise that you could leverage, you could monetize, and why you don't have to wait for a crisis to start taking charge of your finances. So if you've ever wondered what goes on behind the scenes with Netflix stars and viral celebrities, well, let's just say there's probably a story about a ring light and a runaway dog or an unexpected Zoom mishap. Grab your notepad and your sense of humor today, because today we're learning how to turn your online presence into the ultimate preparedness plan. Let's get started. Thank you so much for being with us, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the conversation here. Thanks for the intro.
Absolutely. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get into personal branding and social media monetization? Was this something you were born doing, like a baby in the hospital snapping selfies, or did you just stumble into it, maybe tripping over a viral hashtag on your way to the kitchen?
Well, I had my first entrepreneurial journey at 19 years old, and I got involved in a company. I represented them as an affiliate, as a kind of sales team leader, and I built this really big affiliate network of like 5,000 people, and had my first little bit of success and made my first little chunk of change. And after a few years of working really hard for this other company, they had an internal problem, and I get a call one day, and basically they shut down overnight.
Wow.
And so I was sitting there and I looked back and I was like, man, if I could have done one thing more, I would have focused on building my name just as much as any company or product or service that I represent. And so that was really the moment that led me down this mission of trying to discover more about what it means to build this personal brand, get on social media, and sort of build a system and tools and resources to help grow our business and our life. And so that's how it started.
Well, can you share more about that moment you realized that you could actually turn your branding skills into a business that not only worked for you, but helped others build world-class brands? Was there a light bulb moment, or did you just wake up one day with your LinkedIn notifications and saying that they had unionized?
Well, everyone has this sort of challenge, whether you struggle with it or it's just kind of looming in your mind, which is, what is the real end goal of using social media? Okay. So a lot of people have this challenge where, they're doing what they're told to do. They're kind of active and using it in some way that they think is necessary because everyone else is doing it. But I was sitting in a coffee shop one day with a friend, and we ended up connecting, sitting down, and kind of building a relationship, building a partnership, building a business together. And it sort of dawned on me that exact scenario is what social platforms were meant for. Okay, that's what they were meant to do, was to connect us with other people, build relationships, turn those relationships into great connections and possibly partnerships, possibly new friends, mentors, investors, clients. Okay, so there was kind of this moment where I realized building relationships and connections and referral networks, all of that is the same exact thing that we do in real life. Social media is a tool to help do more of that. Okay, so yeah, I hope that gives a little insight.
Well, it does. Let's dig into your expertise a little bit. So, for someone starting from scratch, like their online presence is just a MySpace page and some blurry pet photos, what's the first step to building an online presence that could actually become a source of income? And you get bonus points if it doesn't involve interpretive TikTok dancing.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely doesn't involve that, because it actually, the first step doesn't involve anything with social media whatsoever. The first step involves you figuring out what business, okay, what industry, what are you doing in real life? Okay, what is your business? What's your plan? What's your mission? And it really doesn't matter what industry you're in, or whether it's, you looking for new clients, in the real estate world, or if you're in some, you know, a completely different business on a mission trying to raise money or help people. Okay, you have to decide what you're actually going after in real life first. And then when you come to social media to build this brand, to possibly inspire people, to share your journey. By the way, people really want to see the journey, not just the end result. So
Mhm.
don't worry about having, not all of it figured out at first, or trying to be successful first. That's not the point. But you do have to have an idea of why you're there, okay, and what you're doing in real life that can correlate with social media. So when people ask themselves, man, what am I going to post? What am I going to share? What am I using this for? A lot of the times that's really correlated with a lack of clarity in their own business and foundation and life. So if you can figure out something like, what am I doing to earn my first 100,000 in business? As you mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, what is your skill set? What can you bring to the world? If you decide and kind of get some clarity around a few things there, then we can start talking about the branding strategy around that.
Okay. So, what's a common mistake that people make when trying to monetize their personal brand, and how can they avoid it? Give us this don't step in the puddle warning so we can save our listeners from getting their.
Okay, yeah, big puddle. Don't step in the puddle of showing only what you do in your business and showing only the products and services that you sell. People want to connect and learn who you are, how you can help them, but they need to trust you and like you first. Okay, so they want to hear your story, they want to learn about you, and then they want to learn about what you offer, what you can do for them. So building a personal brand involves sharing the personal side, the professional side, and maybe let's call it hobbies and lifestyle as well. Okay,
Mhm.
so this balance between the photos and the videos and how you represent yourself is very, very important. It's the difference between just another business account that no one cares about, because no one cares what you know until they know that you care. Okay,
And they have to know
so
you're a human being to know that you care, whereas businesses don't care. They're not people, but people are their business.
exactly. Now you can build an incredible business brand. And when you build your own name and your own personal brand, you can reference and kind of funnel and guide people to go and find your companies. Absolutely. But if you want to build up your personal brand in hopes of building new clientele, more relationships, more attraction, more attention, just remember that it's not just the products and services that you represent, but it's also who you are, why you represent them, and a whole lot of other really special things that make you unique.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'd agree when I say that social media is more crowded than a Walmart on a Black Friday. So, what's your go-to strategy for helping people cut through the noise and stand out without resorting to sandwich boards and megaphones?
Yeah, well, I think that what we just talked about, the personal side of your brand, immediately cuts through the noise because you are you. No one else can be you. Okay. So that's just the first thing that most people, they forget to bet on themselves.
What should the
Okay.
mix be, Jeremy? Like the
One
mix
third.
between one third. Okay.
Yeah. Just, that, I mean, it's not going to be one every single time. But my point is, I should never come to someone's profile and see 10 photos of the properties that they're selling and then only one photo of the person,
Gotcha. Okay.
right? You want to see a photo of friends, family, loved ones, the kids, the wife, the husband, boyfriend, girlfriend. You want to see some photos of you at a networking event, maybe, or with the colleagues, with clients, not just the product, but the people and the thing that represents your business. Okay. To
Hmm.
show that you're actively in whatever business or market that you're in. Okay. And then hobbies and lifestyle. And this could be anything. It's not meant to please anyone. Okay. It's meant to show, what do you like to do? Do you like to golf? Are you a musician? Are you into the arts? I mean, anything. Share that because believe it or not, someone deciding to do business with you, spend money with you, it takes one moment for them to take a look at who you are, see that with your friends, family, kids, look at your business, and then look at, oh, they actually have a hobby that I actually enjoy as well. Immediate trust, immediate connection. Okay. The initial trust is raised by, I would say, well over 50%. Willingness to talk on the phone, willingness to exchange information, willingness to explore what you do, okay, and actually listen.
Mm.
So,
Okay, so what about video content? So, for those wanting to use video content as their main tool, what are some insider tips to make those videos engaging and profitable? Is it still that social aspect? And also, please tell us if there's a way to look good on camera without a Hollywood lighting crew.
yeah. Here's my take. Content, I believe, our strategy that we help guide our members through is about balance. Okay. It's very obvious that no one likes to see the same exact type of content over and over and over again. So if they come to your profile the same way that we're talking about a one third balance between professional content, personal, hobbies, lifestyle, I would put that same balance on photos, videos, short form, long form content. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to balance these things. So as an example, the horror story is when someone says, oh, I've got the best content strategy in the world. They sit right here, like this podcast, and they take 100 videos of this exact image, and then their entire feed is just the same thing
Hmm.
for 100 clips. And it doesn't matter how consistent you are or how many videos that you put out, it's going to be stagnant because the people watching are just, if I pull up your profile and it all looks the same, I'm not interested to, there's no curiosity whatsoever. It's not visually pleasing. There's no balance. There's no difference. And before I go watch a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute video of you, if I don't know you, before I watch a video where you're sharing information and talking to me, I actually just want to look at some simple photos of who you are, who you're with, who you spend time with, so I can just gather a 15-second prejudgment.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, again, there's this misunderstanding that just because you're creating the content and you put time into it and you did the right lighting, that's going to make the biggest difference. And we miss a lot of the really important things. As an example, I had a client. He started focusing on this high quality produced content. It was very cool. It had lots of colors and editing and, the market update, and here's how to buy a home, and, and here's what your down payment's going to be, and all this business professional info. Okay. And he started doing it so much that the entire page was just full of this highly edited content.
Mhm.
I scrolled down back to when he had normal photos of friends, family, and there was this photo, this really nice photo of him, he and his son having some ice cream together. Okay. It was a clear quality photo, really quality photo. And when I looked at that photo, I was like, that's the guy that I really like to talk to. I know that person. I trust that person. And so I called him immediately and I said, this needs to be pinned. You can pin three
Right.
photos at the top. This needs to be 1/3 of your entire brand. The minute that someone comes to your page, do you just want them to know, you think they're going to fall in love with your business content, or do you think that you have something unique that you could share, again, that is so simple we overlook it? Your friends, your family, your loved ones, your cats, your dogs. I know that stuff sounds silly, but in a world where everything is edited and everyone is trying to quote unquote sell and monetize their brand, we forget that when someone gets on the phone with me, the first thing they say is, "Wow, I saw that you had a wedding recently. I saw that your wife with this, that, and the other," and it's all personal.
Mhm.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And then after we connect, that's when we start talking about doing some big deals together and doing some big business together. But it always starts out with, I trusted your page, I connected with you, I decided to respond to you. And they say, I almost never respond to a message that of a person I don't know, but for some reason I decided to respond to your message. So again, take that for what it is. If you're doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, trying to prove yourself, remember that it's always actually the way that you greet someone, the way that you shake their hand, the way that you open the door for somebody. That says more about you. It will always say more about you. That's a constant. Forget the trends on social media. Those will come and go and change every 30 days. It's the way that you present yourself and share, you know, versus the car that you drive or the money you have or the resume or even the successful resume that you have as well. Okay. So that applies to social media. I know we think about that in real life, how we treat other people, how we speak, how we connect with others. And, but this applies to the brand as well.
Okay. So let's talk about this $10 million mindset, because to some that's unfathomable. But you've sold over $10 million in services, which is enough to make even a billionaire's accountant sit up and pay attention. What mind shift or mindset shifts, I should say, are critical for someone who wants to scale their influence and income? And can you bottle it and sell it on Etsy?
Um, so I think that the mindset starts with, you spoke in the beginning of this talking about, individuals getting started in their business, right? Getting started in their business, getting started with their brand. And I shared that before social media, you have to get some clarity around your business. Okay. And so I don't want to say the classic, find something you really love and just do that. Okay, that's not necessarily the answer, but I have a belief that if you're going to do anything, you need to commit 5, 10 years to it. Okay, so
Mhm.
if you find a business that you enjoy or that you're good at, or that you deem profitable, okay, and you deem that it's a great business model, if you're going to learn a skill, I would dedicate 5, 10 years to building that skill.
Because
Okay,
you didn't become a $10 million service seller overnight, not even in year two, correct?
correct,
Yeah.
right. So exactly, and the info, the experience, and the income and the growth, that all compounds over the years. But the challenge that anyone trying to find that business has is they start something, they're excited, and it's very short term. Okay. They
Yeah.
start something, they're excited. And if you speak to a real entrepreneur, they will tell you, don't be so excited. You need to keep your head down and get to work. Okay. It is exciting to start a business. It's exciting when the idea is fresh and everything is sort of shiny, and you're looking forward to what's going to happen. But if you really are committed to building a business or any idea, it is going to take a long time. Absolutely. It's going to take a long time for it to come to fruition. And you have to fall in love with enjoying that process. Okay. So you do what you have, you do what you can with what you have currently in wherever you are in your business. If you're just earning your first few $1,000s a month, or you're at the 10 to 50K mark, or you're at the 50 to 100 or 100 to 500 or above, each person is still dealing with their own challenges, the same that they were on day one. Okay. And so you'll find that the people at the highest level, they really continue to enjoy all of those challenges and problems that they're solving, no matter the scale.
Well, tell us a little bit about Influencer Club. How does it, I mean, is there a secret handshake? How does it help creators turn their talents into thriving businesses?
Well, it starts with reframing the entire foundation of what it means to build a personal brand. Okay. So, sort of a bit of the conversation we're having right now. So, instead of having this perfectly laid out strategy, which everybody hopes that there is, instead, we tear down all of those preconceived ideas and we start with you. Okay. If we want to build you into a great name and a great brand, we have to first get clarity on what makes you great, what makes you special, what makes you unique. Okay. Now, our members, of course, we have an entire team that takes care of them, helping them do everything from, influencer publications to grow their audience, to booking podcasts with 30 to 100 platforms and media outlets over the course of 12 to 18 months. So we're doing a really, really big push, which is my second piece of advice is, once you have the business going and you have some clarity around your mission, and you start your social and you get that content up that we just spoke about, okay, starting to balance your brand, have a clear bio that shows who you are, what you do. Then the third piece is, when you have the capital or you have the team, you need to go and push very hard on getting your name out there. So you asked, how do you cut through the noise, or cut through the clouds in a very busy world? And my answer is, if you're thinking about doing one podcast, you need to go and do 100. If you're thinking about growing 1,000 followers, you need to think about growing 100,000 followers. So everything in terms of the brand, slow and steady does not win that race. Okay. So
Interesting. A lot of people think just the opposite, that that it is slow and steady, but yeah, I think that they should definitely think on a larger scale. Now, speaking of podcasts, you've been on over, your share of podcasts. How can podcasting be a game changer for someone looking to elevate their brand?
Well, I think it's one of the best platforms to share a message. I mean, let's just use our conversation right now,
Right,
as a perfect example. Okay, you have been so kind to bring me onto this show. I'm going to provide some value, hopefully, to your audience. You're providing value to me by allowing me to share my thoughts, okay, and share a bit about who I am and my brand. Now, when you go ahead and post this on all the different platforms and share my name, when someone decides to Google me in the future and they come across this interview, they may decide to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes listening to us chat. And I've had individuals come to me and say, I took a few minutes to listen to what you had to say, and I really liked it, and I agree with you, and I like your energy, and so I'd like to now do business with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's just one example, is you're putting more opportunity for people to find you, listen to you, and make a decision about you. Okay, let alone the fact that, of course, you get content from this. We're having a great conversation. Hopefully I learned something, you learned something, the audience learned something. I mean, there are a lot of really great reasons. I don't do podcasting to hope that somebody's going to click a link and buy, or, funnel anybody. I don't really think about social media in that way. Although we have systems built, I never think about it as a funnel that's just, some random listener is going to click a link and buy. That's not the goal. The goal is to build some brand awareness, build some trust, build a connection, a relationship with somebody listening. And again, if somebody is Googling me or searching or looking for you and they find that you have valuable guests on your show, that's going to increase the likelihood of another valuable guest going onto your show. Okay. And vice
Right.
versa. If they
Right.
find me and they're able to listen to my message, that's going to hopefully increase the chances that they'll have a phone call, do business in the future.
So let's face it here, your network of industry leaders and celebrities is impressive. What's your advice for someone trying to build meaningful connections in a field, especially if their current network is just them and their house plant? I mean, how do they get started with that?
You should send 100 genuine messages every single day. Okay. 100 messages on Instagram, if you, whatever platform you choose, 100 messages on Instagram, 100 on LinkedIn, 100 emails, 100 text messages to new people in a target demographic that you wish to get connected to. Okay. So in my early 20s, I decided, before I knew my target audience, before I had this entire brand built around a lot of people in the real estate world and ecosystem, I just knew I wanted to connect with great entrepreneurs, okay, and build a relationship, whether that be to help me with referral networks, to have great people in my contacts, or potentially come across a client, somebody who might want to do business together.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent every single day for many, many, many years, and we still do to this day. It's just that now I've built a team to handle that process for me. And I send messages every single day, and I take every single phone call. Okay. I would take every phone call with every person. It doesn't matter if that, a lot of people say, I don't want to spend time on the phone with people that aren't my client or aren't my target audience or aren't my avatar. And listen, at some point later in your business, when you have that figured out and you have a system to pre-qualify things like that, absolutely. But if you are between your first $1,000 to $10,000 a month in your business, you should be taking every single phone call and discovering who's behind that door. Okay. So I have some incredible stories of taking a phone call with a random, genuine connection from Instagram. At face value, that was just a person that had, no, it wasn't necessarily some high level client, potential client, or anything of that nature. It was just a genuine person. I had connected with them. We had a 20-minute phone call. This person really liked what I shared, what we do for others. And within one day, he says, I have a really good friend I'd love to introduce you to. And he goes ahead and introduces me to a celebrity musician, okay, who plays for one of the biggest country artists in the entire US and in the entire world. And so within this 20-minute intro phone call with a person, that turns into a relationship with not only a client, that turns into a relationship of a referral network of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars beyond that. Okay.
Wow.
So that is my answer as to what you can be doing. You should be connecting. That's what these platforms are for. As you're growing the brand, as you're making the content, don't forget that building the relationship, having the phone call, having the connection, turning that into a real person in your life. That's what's going to actually drive an end result.
Well, I want to talk a little bit more about that, because working alongside people like Grant Cardone and Netflix stars, you must have been taught a lot. What's one key lesson that you've learned from these experiences?
Not one thing will ever ruin a deal. Okay, not one thing will ever ruin the deal. And what that means is, this is something that Grant Cardone had preached many years ago. The philosophy is that a lot of us get really worried about one thing or another kind of ruining the bigger end goal. And this could be, if you're listening, this could be you're worried that one bad post on your social media is going to destroy your name and your brand. You're worried that if you don't have enough likes or views on a video, that you have to delete it and you're a failure. You're worried that if you send the message to somebody, you're worried that it might come across as rude, or you're going to make somebody angry or piss somebody off if you ask them for their business. Okay.
Mhm.
Not one thing will ever ruin the bigger picture, the deal, the whole deal. Okay. So, what I teach as a strategy is to really let go of all of those uh, limiting beliefs or fears that we have. Worrying about the likes, worrying about the views, worrying if somebody's going to be upset if you send 100 messages. A lot of people listening right now, I bet you, if they sit there with their phone and they go to send those 100 messages to 100 new people, they start overthinking. Well, is this person going to like this message that I'm going to send? Should I, I don't think I want to bother them today. Okay. If you want something, if you want to go build a great relationship with a new lead or a new connection or a new client, you have to go for it. You have to send the messages. And you know what? Some of them absolutely will be pissed off. I've had 100 messages back, just as many out, that say, don't bother me. This is what you must be a robot. This isn't a real message. I mean, seriously. And then I'll turn around and say, no, this is actually real. I'll send them a voice message. No, this is actually me. I actually sent you this message. And that ends up turning into, ironically, I remember one, that ends up turning into a huge client, an amazing relationship. And so my point is, you have to go out there, not be scared of any of the little things that are going to stop you from going after the big end result in the big picture. I hope that helps.
So the little things are important in that consistent discipline. So we may have some common threads here in this next question, but for listeners who want to take immediate action after this episode, and let's face it, motivation has a shelf life. What are 3 simple steps that they could do today to start monetizing their online presence? And by the way, you get extra credit if they can do it without changing out of their pajamas.
Perfect. Yeah, they can do it within 15 minutes. Do a page audit of your social media. So your Instagram, check your bio, check your profile picture, and start changing the content on your page. So like I said, the balance of the brand. So upload 10 new photos between your personal life, your professional life, your hobbies and lifestyle. Okay, just upload them all today and make it look fresh, and so people can see you in all of your images. Okay, that's step 1. Page audit, social media audit. Step 2, get clear on who you want to connect with. Okay, do you want a new client? Do you want a mentor? Do you want podcast interviews? Do you want just great relationships? Do you want high net worth people so you can raise capital for your business? Get clear on who you want to connect with and why. Okay, that's step 2. Step 3, start sending 100 messages a day.
Okay.
Start sending 100 messages a day to that target audience. Search for them, find them, go through a network of somebody that you like, and look at the people they follow, and on that goes. There is literally unlimited opportunity of new relationships, connections for your business, whether that's knowledge, insight, mentorship, revenue. Okay, you decide, and you go after it, and you track it. You be meticulous about it. I'm not talking about sending 100 messages Tuesday and Wednesday and then giving up on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, this is a process that I have done from my social media, from different accounts, every day for probably close to 10 years. Okay. Who do you think has a bigger database from their social media? Who do you think has been able to track and look at ROI on their social media? The person that has no system whatsoever, or the one that has every single day 100 messages every month? I look at how many phone calls every year. I look at how much revenue. You understand? So that's step 3, is go after it. Yes, you've got the content, the brand, all those other things. You're gonna need to find a team of people. But what you can do today is go build new relationships and move the business forward.
All right. So I want to get one last pick from you. What's one book or tool or resource that you'd recommend for someone to trying to learn about personal branding or social media monetization?
I would use a real life real life example. And what I mean by this is you need to look at the industry. It doesn't have to be your specific space, but you need to find a few examples of people that you really trust and like and look up to. And you like what they do, you like how they do it, you like who they are, okay, as a person, as a business person, and use them as a North Star, okay? Use that as something to guide you. Okay, so there's this saying, which is, if you can't be great for yourself in the beginning, go ahead and just copy me and start doing some of the things that I'm doing, and then you can figure out your own personal brand as you go. So in the early stages of, figuring out who I was as an entrepreneur, as a business person, I just found all of these people that I loved, I believed in, from personal development, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, all the way to, big business, to, guys like Grant Cardone and many, many other entrepreneurs. And I just started to see how they did things and how they portrayed themselves. And as an example, of Grant Cardone, this person I watched as they balanced their brand every single day for 10 years. I could watch as he would go from the office, posting in the office, posting in the suit and tie, doing deals, to then being on the golf course, to then being sitting down with his daughters with a coloring book, or doing their homework with them. And
Mhm.
I could see all of that in a single day on his brand. And that clicked, and that made so much sense to me, that the reason this person is going to, as an example, raise capital, build business, build connection and trust, is not just because of his 30 years in the industry. It's because of these simple things that people get to watch and see and connect with every day. So find a few examples of people that you would look at as a North Star, and just remember that it wasn't so many years ago that they were figuring out their plan and figuring out their brand the same as you are today.
Okay. Well, that's a great note for everyone. Really good pick, really good resource. Let's ask a little bit more fun question. What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that's ever happened to you while you were guest speaking? Because you've been on a tons of shows and events.
Uh, Funniest thing? I'm not sure. I suppose there was a podcast that I did not so long ago where the final question was, Jeremy, what question should I have asked you, and what is the answer to that question? And I just thought that was funny because I didn't have the answer. I didn't have the question because it wasn't my job to prepare it. And so I had no idea what question I would ask myself and what the answer was. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I wasn't able to give any sort of context at the end of that interview.
Ruh-roh. Okay, so we're going to play rapid fire for a second here, Jeremy, okay?
Sounds good.
So just the first thing that comes to your mind, where's your go-to happy place for brand building magic? Instagram or LinkedIn?
Instagram.
First thing you notice about someone's online profile, headshot, headline, or their dog in a hat?
Dog in a hat.
I thought you were going to say that. The social media trend you wish would vanish forever.
Uh, Real estate market updates.
What's one thing every entrepreneur should keep in their preparedness kit besides coffee or their drug of choice?
A phone charger.
You can only keep one: viral video, best-selling ebook, or an unlimited supply of motivational quotes.
Unlimited supply of motivational quotes.
Interesting. Okay, biggest branding pet peeve: buzzwords, bad lighting, or hashtags that go on longer than a CVS receipt.
Oh man, am I allowed to say all three?
Okay. If you're a personal brand were you're gonna hate this question. If your personal brand were a kitchen appliance, what would it be?
My espresso machine.
Oh, okay. Favorite productivity snack for marathon content days? Jerky, kale chips, or whatever is within arm's reach?
Probably with whatever's in arm's reach. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay. Your most used emoji in DMs, and be honest, we won't judge much.
Probably the hands up at this point, you know, the
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, last one. If you could swap places with any entrepreneur or influencer for a day, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good question. Wow, I had not thought of that. You know, I would what I would like to do, and I'll use this as just a small piece of advice is I would love to swap with someone who doesn't have a brand but has scaled and grown an incredible business in real life. Okay? Because all of the success on social media and the brands that really make it are the ones that have figured out and continue diligently to learn how to grow their business in real life, help more people expand and grow. And then the social media part has so much more life to it. Okay. So that's my little twist, is that I would actually want to swap places with, you know, some of my close friends that have grown businesses to 5, 10, 15, 20 million plus a year online businesses, and you wouldn't necessarily even know their name.
Okay, interesting. So, what's next for you, Jeremy? How can our listeners stay connected to learn from your journey besides hiding in your bushes with a pair of binoculars?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see somebody out there now.
Yeah.
Hopefully Maria had provided some links that we could share here. We have a case studies page, a success story page, and there are tons and tons and tons of examples of men and women, mothers, fathers, young people, older individuals figuring out their brand now, later in their career. So many different walks of life. Okay,
Hmm.
and I really encourage anybody who's interested in finding that North Star that I was talking about, go check out some of these examples. If you'd like to book a strategy call with our team, it is completely risk free. You can do that, and worst case scenario, you walk away with a new strategy and, you know, hopefully some changes and some action steps. But yeah, check out some of the examples, take a look, and of course, you can kind of find my stuff and book a call with our team from there.
Wonderful. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the show. We definitely appreciate it. I love this fresh look, and financial preparedness is something that I'm very passionate about, entrepreneurialism. So I really appreciate getting to speak with someone who's been there and done that.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you for
so
having me.
much.
Thank you.